Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second episode of Choppin' It Up. I'm your host, Larry Sidelinger, and with me tonight is three-time world champion Alissa Wetherbee. She is a lumberjill, a lady axe thrower, world champ. Welcome to LCTV Studios.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
So, for the folks at home that didn't catch our first show, they should have. We did a show with Brianna Wing, who's doing a documentary about your passion, your pastime, axe throwing, ladies axe throwing, lumberjills. How cool is this? And how did this all, let's talk a little bit about you. How did you get into axe throwing?
I think I got into it a pretty normal way. I grew up here in Maine, and I grew up doing firewood with my family. Like, it was my favorite thing to do growing up was, to help haul the logs and stack the logs when I was little, and then when I got older, splitting and then running the chainsaws and the tractors, and I loved it. So as soon as I realized that there was a thing called timber sports, that you could go and compete in these events, I was like, I already know how to do this. So I was, maybe about 20, and I just started going around to local fairs, their woodsman's days, their competitions, and just fell in love with it and met more and more ladies doing it and learned more and more events, and it's taken off from there.
And how long have you been doing this?
25 years.
I don't mean to laugh, but 25 years is a long time doing anything. I didn't realize there was lumberjills until about a month ago.
Yeah.
But you've been around 25 years.
Yeah.
Have you always been called lumberjills?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean to sound fascinated, but I am. And you also do some log rolling.
We do.
And you don't just like log roll out in the pond, swimming and whatnot. You've been across the Mississippi River.
I have.
On a log.
Yep. Yep, on a competition log rolling log. So the sport of log rolling, all of the sports we do, they're a heritage sport. So it all comes from the act of what lumberjacks and lumberjills did in the woods. So, we're running the crosscut saws, and that's what they used to do to, they would take trees down with axes and crosscut saws. They would chop the logs up into manageable lengths to get them out of the forest. A lot of times the logs would end up, they'd bring them to the rivers, push them into the river, and get them down to town that way.
So I have to ask you, what possessed you to want to roll a log across the Mississippi River? It's not like a little mud. I've been across the Mississippi on a bridge, obviously, but it's not like a mud puddle bridge. It's a pretty good sized river.
It is. Yep. Back in. Well, all right, so it started.
How did you come up with the idea? I ought to roll a log across the river.
My husband asked me if I thought I could do it.
A challenge.
It may have been over a beer.
There always has to be an adult beverage involved.
So we were driving back from a show that we do in Nebraska every year, and we stopped. And when you're hauling a 30-foot trailer, your choices are.
Not many places,
You have to really look and choose the best place to pull over and park and go in and grab lunch or dinner. And we stopped in this place on the banks of the Mississippi River called the Riverview Roadhouse. And we went in, we ordered some lunch, a train went by, and everyone ran to the window, all the locals. They ran to the window and they were yelling the numbers off of one of the cars.
That's probably the thing to do.
Apparently so.
At the local store. I mean, us being a Maine girl, you understand we have our Moody Diner and things that we,
Exactly.
The boats are coming in, the mailman went by today, it's that type of thing.
Yeah. And so then they go along and they look at the back of the bar stools, and they're matching up the number on this train car with the numbers on the back of the bar stool. And it happened to be my husband, Mike, was the lucky one sitting in the seat. And so he got a free drink. And that's how it works at the bar. Every time a train goes by, if you're sitting in that seat and the numbers match up, I guess you get a free drink.
Free drink.
And so suddenly we were friends with everyone there, and we got talking about it and chatting, and we had a drink and maybe another drink.
It just sounded like a good idea.
And we were overlooking the beautiful Mississippi River, and
But you didn't do it that day.
No.
You
had
to think about
almost
it a
year later to the day. So there was a lot that went into it. We had to make sure everyone was on board with it. You can't just
How many drinks
try to-
did they sell the day that you were rolling the log across that, do you suppose? There she goes. She was here a year ago.
We actually did it at 8 o'clock in the morning, so probably not that many by then. There was a little crowd watching us from over there, but yeah.
And if that wasn't enough, you went back and did the Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah, just a few years later.
Did he challenge you with another drink? Was that the case?
No, we did this beautiful expo out. It's the Missouri River Outdoor Expo. It's in Ponca State Park, Nebraska. We do it every September. It's a huge, big outdoor expo. It's to get kids involved in outdoor activities. So camping, archery, outdoor cooking. They've been bringing us in for several years. We do shows, and then we also teach log rolling lessons to all the kids, and it's on the banks of the Missouri River. And it's just beautiful. So we've been like overlooking the scenery for years out there, and
just looks like a place to go roll a log across the river, right?
And yeah, everyone just we talked about it and thought it would be a great way to kick off the expo that year, and
there she goes. So. She's just rolling across the river.
Do
they play that song, Rolling, Rolling?
So we took it across to the South Dakota side and started on a bank over there and rolled over into Nebraska to kick off the expo that year.
That's too cool. So you started the Axe Women Loggers of Maine, like a long time ago, 15 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit of something. I mean, you not only wanted to enjoy this yourself, you wanted every other woman to do it too.
Exactly, yes.
And you have quite a diversified group of women too.
We do. Timber sports, everyone can fit into something in timber sports. We have college girls on our team. We have grandmas on our team. And it's a toss-up over who's going to win which event. There's so much technique and skill involved that it's not always the youngest and the strongest. A lot of times the grandmas will beat the college girls.
Well, so. Grandma's going to hold the fort, and Grandpa's just shaking his head.
So yeah, I had been competing.
But they're competitive too, aren't they?
Extremely. Yeah, it's a very competitive sport. I had already been competing professionally for several years, and just going to the competitions and seeing more and more women's events evolving each year. It was amazing to see how people were so interested in watching the women compete. When we go to the World Championships every year in New York, they have a women's day and then a men's day. On the women's day, the grandstands are packed from 6 o'clock in the morning on, and the competition doesn't even start until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So people were really interested in watching this and seeing it and cheering these ladies on. So I was like, there's just a good amount of lumberjack shows out there, and unfortunately, a lot of them are, putting the plaid shirts and the suspenders on, and they're telling corny jokes about lumberjacks. And we just thought there's a better way to sell it.
Well, us men have a way of dumbing things down.
We don't need to make fun of it. It's actually a job. There's a lot of history and heritage, and, be proud of it. And I was really proud of the fact that these women are all professional athletes and professional competitors. And so we really wanted to showcase that side of it, that you don't have to go out and make silly jokes, and it doesn't have to be a scripted show. So we go out, and it is actually a head-to-head competition you're watching.
You take yourselves pretty serious.
We do.
When you cross the end line to start the game, let the games begin.
Oh yeah, It's all out. It's it's not you win this one and I'll win that one.
But when the games are over with, you're all friends again.
We are.
Much different us men. We can't stand each other. Punch each other in the nose.
Timber sports is one of those events. Have you ever seen the Woodsman's Day at the Freiburg Fair?
Oh, I have.
That's incredible. So, during the chopping events, there's going to be 12 stations. There's going to be 12 choppers on the track every heat, and there's several heats. There's sometimes 130 competitors there. So you go through several heats, and timber sports is one of the very few events that I've watched that, you're chopping your log, or you're running your race, or you're doing whatever you're doing in your sport. But because we're talking about chopping, I'll go there. So you're chopping a log, you finish. You don't just stand up and cheer and walk off the track. You stand there and you cheer on the woman beside you. And if her axe handle breaks,
you give her your axe.
Hand her your axe and cheer her on until the last woman is done chopping. And it's an amazing sport. It's so amazing just to see the camaraderie and the friendships that have formed over this. And
So this Axe Woman's team that you've assembled, they're not just like in Maine here. They're all over the place, right?
right. So yeah, the first year I started it, there was 5 or 6 of us from Maine. I said, let's do this.
And you're from the Ellsworth area.
Yep, I grew up, Bar Harbor.
Bar
yep.
Harbor, yep.
Yeah, I grew up in Bar Harbor on Mount Desert Island. Yeah, so I had a couple ladies, teachers. I had one lady, she was finishing up her last 2 years of college. I said, let's do this. I said, I'll take the loan out. I'll buy all new equipment. I'll buy the truck and the trailer. You guys come on the road with me for the summers and let's do this. So they were all on board. And yeah, by the end of the first summer, we just had so much work. I realized really quickly, if I only had that core group, they were going to get burned out super fast and just not be able to.
Do you have to try out for the team?
We do little tryouts, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't want somebody to just come in and say, I can chop wood and
No.
really, you could be missing a toe or something here.
Exactly. No, it's really helpful going to competitions. Like you go to the World Championships, you go to the big competitions, and you get to watch the other ladies compete. And that's where I find a lot of ladies. The sport has really grown over the last several years, and in college, there's a lot of college clubs and teams out there of timber sports. So a lot of times I will have ladies reach out to me and they say, I've been competing on my collegiate team for 4 years, which is a nearly professional level. And, if they don't have their career locked in right then and they're looking to travel, then I'm more than happy to bring them along. And
well, let's talk. You brought some tools with you.
We did.
Let's talk about some of these weapons.
All right, so these are throwing axes, double bitted, 24-inch handle. They only weigh about 2 to 3 pounds.
And how far do you throw it?
We throw from a distance of 20 feet. And you're throwing for accuracy. You'll get either 3 or 5 throws. And, obviously you want to hit the bullseye, but, there's usually different circles on the target, and each circle is worth more. So then.
And what's this one here, which I understand is extremely sharp?
So this is literally an 8-pound razor blade. This is one of our chopping axes. How do I want to hold this best so that everyone can see it?
Well, you hold her up there. We're gonna. There it is, right there. There it is, right there. Who sharpen? Do you sharpen your own axes?
I do to a point. Yep. For the most part, you can kind of stone out, if you get any dings or nicks, or just at the end of the season, if it just needs to be rehoned, you can kind of ground it. You can sharpen it yourself with a stone.
But you don't buy it like that. I mean, you don't buy it sharp like that, do you?
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So
do you have to have a special blacksmith?
Well, so this company, Precision Axes, it was like one of the only U.S. axe manufacturers. They're out in California, husband and wife company, super great family-owned company, and they sent me this axe just like this. I'm sure they had sent it out to be sharpened, but yeah, I mean this is my favorite axe.
And that's for chopping. That's not for throwing. That's for chopping.
So for this event, you stand on top of a log and you're chopping it in half between your feet. And you're chopping this far from your toes.
I was just going to say, so show us why you still have 10 toes.
Well,
because no matter how good you are, you miss from time to time.
No, you don't. Yeah, so one of the cool things, we actually wear chainmail socks under our shoes. A lot of people ask why you don't wear steel-toed boots.
Yeah.
It's because if you were to miss, it's not a miss. Most likely it's going to be a glance off of your log. You might find a knot in there, or just any number of reasons the axe could glance. And when it comes, it's going to most likely come up from underneath your foot, and it's going to hit you right behind the steel toe. And it's just the steel toe isn't going to do any good other than you're going to take it to the hospital and hand them your toes with it, all in a little steel
cup. Put this back, would you?
So we wear these chainmail socks, and they actually kind of wrap around under your foot a little bit, and it actually will stop the axe. You're going to end up with most likely a broken toe, a really sore foot.
Yeah, your swing at this axe is a fairly high velocity swing too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all you can muster.
As fast and as hard as you can go.
Yeah, there's no daintiness involved. There is some skill, I'm sure,
Absolutely.
But so I want to go back to this log rolling thing. I'm fascinated that you roll a log across, but it's not like it's not a 600-pound log. You've got like an artificial log or a synthetic log now you've developed?
We do. I didn't develop it. So yes, for years though, we did log roll. We hauled it around the country with us.
Just an old oak log or a pine log?
No, it was a western red cedar log.
Oh, yeah, it has special.
They're super buoyant.
Okay.
It can sit in the water all summer, not sink any lower. But yeah, that probably 350, 400 pounds. And, that's a lot to be hauling around the country with you. And it would also require a forklift to be wherever we arrived to
You're strong, but not that
take
strong.
it out of the trailer and put it in the pool. And then at the end, take it out of the pool, put it back in the trailer. So a world champion log roller and boom runner, a mother and daughter, they actually developed this out in the Midwest. It's called...
Came up with the idea.
Yeah. The name of the company, it's Key Log Rolling.
Made your life a lot easier.
A lot easier, yeah. So they developed this synthetic log. It's got this baffle system inside of it. So, and then it's got 2 boat plugs on the ends.
Yeah.
So
just
when
pull
it's
the plug.
empty, it's 65 pounds. One person can carry it. It's really easy. If you have 2 people carrying it, you can throw it up on the racks on your car. You can take it anywhere you want. You can take it into a hotel, stand it up in the elevator, take it up to a rooftop pool.
I can't imagine. Here comes that lady with a log in the hotel.
We've taken it some pretty fun
I
places.
might want to have one of these adult beverages with you one time. I think your exploits would be pretty fascinating. So when you go to an event, you go to a fair or whatever to do your exhibition, you're cutting wood, you're chopping wood. Mm-hmm. You also got some pretty impressive chainsaws. Talk to us a little bit about these.
We do, yeah. So one of the
these
events...
things are souped up.
They are.
I mean, I just read a little of your bio, and it's like, you got a Volkswagen motor hooked up to a chainsaw. That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, so, for the chainsaw races, there's stock saw races, so that's going to be the saw just right off the shelf. There's going to be stock appearing, which means you can mess with anything inside the engine as long as when it goes back together, it looks like a stock chainsaw. And then there are modified and hot saws. So yeah, we run hot saws. They have it's called a hot pipe. It's on them. It's all this.
And I'll bet it is hot too.
It does get hot. You don't want to put your arm or your leg against it after they've been running. But yeah, just souped up modified chainsaws.
So you got log chopping, and you got hot saws,
Yep.
and you got axe throwing. What else is it? Anything else in there?
Oh yeah, we do the old-fashioned cross-cut sawing. Mm-hmm. Only the saws are not necessarily the ones that you see, hanging over someone's mantle anymore. Yeah. So these saws actually come from Australia and New Zealand. They are cut out with a laser. It's a special blend of metal that,
of course it is.
They won't give out the exact blend, but not stainless steel. I will tell you, they will rust within 30 minutes if you don't spray them down after every use.
Clean them up. What else do you? Anything else?
Oh, it depends what show we're at. We do so many different events. We do a PV log roll where you race to roll a log with a PV. Some of the ladies on the team are speed climbers, so they have spikes.
Like the old telephone pole
Yeah,
climbers.
exactly.
Now they got bucket trucks.
Yeah. Yeah, so, she'll tie a rope around her waist and put the spikes on her feet, and, she races 60 to 80 feet up a tree and back down. The race isn't just up. A lot of times it's back down, too.
So of all these events, what do you find the crowd likes the best? There's got to be one that's a favorite. I mean, I like them all. I can't wait to go to one of these things.
I mean, and it really depends. Everyone loves the hot saw because they're loud and it throws a lot of chips out. The axe throwing people love, the chopping they love. I think usually the crowd favorite is the log rolling.
You want to see somebody get wet?
Yeah, because you're going to have 2 ladies up there, and really the only rule is that you can't reach over and touch the other person. So you're running forwards, you're running backwards, you can jump up and down on the log and get it
knock
bouncing.
the other person off.
And you can kick water in your friend's face. So
Really?
you just can't physically touch the other person. So yeah, these ladies are just, it can be quite the show. And we'll go best 2 out of 3 or best 3 out of 5, and there's usually some pretty good hitters involved.
So I was reading in your bio, describe what the underhanded chop is.
Yep, so that's the
You
one.
have all these, like any game, whether it be a dunk shot or a hook shot, your game, you've got an underhanded cut or chop.
So underhand chop is where you're actually standing on top of the log, and you are, chopping down in between your feet. And so you go at a 45-degree angle. You do a few cuts here, a few cuts here. Once you make it to the middle, you spin around on the log and do the same thing back the other way. The cradles are specially made racing cradles that the log is held in, and it's only held in place on one end, so that when you break through on that final cut,
you better be ready to jump.
You better be ready to pick one foot up and balance on one foot while you're swinging that axe, because one piece of the log is going to go rolling away. And
what kind of wood do you use?
Pine, poplar, aspen. It depends where we are in the world.
Do you buy wood when you get there, or you
We
pick
do.
wood up when you get there?
Yeah, there's so many rules and regulations that we don't want to be spreading anything across the country. So no, we ask for whatever venue we're at to source it locally from a local logger. So
Pretty interesting. Now, your teams do. I was looking at your webpage. You've got a busy schedule.
we do.
You got like something going on from like springtime till fall. Almost every other weekend, it seems like something.
Oh yeah. I mean
And you're
we're
all the way
on
out in Wyoming sometime.
Oh yeah. We go coast to coast a couple times a summer. Yeah, super busy. We've got 2 units that are out full time now. So, we can have one team on the East Coast, one team on the West Coast. And, as I had said, we started off with the 5 or 6 ladies from Maine, but yeah, now we have ladies out in British Columbia, Washington, Montana, down in Florida. So, we've got really great competitors spread out all over the place.
So before we run out of time here, I did want to ask you about this documentary. I talked with Brianna, and I could have talked to her for 3 hours.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool stuff.
It is.
She's a go-getter.
Yep.
What do you think about having a documentary made about you and what you've done?
I love that she is highlighting the women of the sport that have worked so hard and not always been highlighted. So that's what I love most about it. I love that she's doing it the correct way, because honestly, we get calls several times a year and
Oh, I bet you
emails
do.
from people saying, "Hey, do you want to come on this reality show?" Or "I want to make a documentary about you." And it doesn't take us very long to do a little bit of research and realize, no, you are not the right person for this. We don't want to be tied in
Sure.
to that, because they're looking for the drama. They're looking for, is someone stealing someone's boyfriend? Is this
They're
girl
looking for a
annoying
YouTube
that
video.
girl? Exactly.
They're just looking for a YouTube video.
Yep. So yeah, Brianna had reached out to us. It took very
I think she
little.
said her sister-in-law
Yes.
is one of your teammates
Yes.
or is involved in the axe throwing?
Yeah. Yep. So one of the ladies on our team, is marrying Brianna's brother. So her parents were always at our shows and competitions and sending all of these videos and pictures back to LA. And Brianna was like, "What is the sport?" So yeah, she traveled out to Maine last year and sent us a message. And yeah, we did a little bit of research on her and just realized how amazing and incredible and genuine she is, and that
She's all
she
of that.
wants to do everything the right way. She's not looking for the drama. She's not looking to destroy someone's livelihood. She's not looking to, do anything other than highlight the women of the sport.
Where do you see the sport going?
It's been amazing to see it grow over the years. So there's a push to get some of the events into the Olympics. That was a big part of why the synthetic rolling log was made. Because obviously every log you chop is going to be different. It can all be from the same tree, the same forest, but they're just going to be different. And, so that's probably not something that's going to get to the Olympics. But log rolling could, and axe throwing could. So
Your team members, and they're from all over the country, and all these different occupations, skill level, whatnot. Does it take any particular skill is better than others? Are nurses better than doctors, or
No,
teachers
we've,
better than
No, it just depends on, what you want to put into training and practice, and it's a really individual sport. It's like we all laugh because we all have chopping stands and axe throwing targets in our backyards.
I was going just my next question. How much practice do you guys do?
A lot, as much as you can fit in.
So do you tell your husband, sorry, honey, you do the dishes, I'm going to go out and practice?
No, he's out there with me. He's a professional competitor as well. Yeah, we'll go outside and axe throw after dinner quite often at night, and
What do the neighbors think?
I think they're used to it now.
But when you tell people you're a professional axe thrower, I mean, in life, people say, well, what do you do? You meet somebody at a restaurant or whatever, you say, what do you do? You say, oh, I'm a professional axe thrower. They look at you like, oh, God.
A lot of people have seen it on TV, so that's kind of the big one we get, like, oh, yeah, I've seen that on TV. And growing up, I remember it being on ABC's Wide World of Sports. And it would be, it would show a couple of the men chainsawing and chopping, and then maybe one woman log rolling. So yeah, it's been just incredible to see more and more women getting into it. We started up a division of our show, of our company, where we actually bring in women that we meet along the way.
A newbie.
Yeah, and it's called the Pathfinders program. So a lot of women didn't grow up in the same area or the same, background.
We take a city girl.
Yeah.
She's probably never seen a chainsaw, maybe.
Yep.
Or a sharp axe.
Yeah.
Or how to use a sharp axe.
We had a reporter come out and do a story on us several years ago, Sierra, and she came out alone. They were, she was doing the camera. She set up the tripod. She was doing the interview. She was running back and forth. She was doing everything. And she said, can I try throwing the axe? I'm like, yeah, of course. We were set up in a big field. There was, nothing that she was going to harm if she
I don't want to throw an axe. Just if you quit wondering I know how to use the chopping pot, but it's not as sharp as that. But I grew up with one of those things in my hand, so.
Yeah, so she sets up the shot. She stands in front of the camera. She's talking, and then I'm standing just off to the side, out of the shot. She hands me the microphone. I hand her the axe. She takes a step and she nails a bullseye. And she did it all afternoon. So I was like, come and be on the team with us. So yeah, she's traveled with us a little now too. And so it's just, you never know. Where
you're going to pick a recruit up.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great fun. We're running out of time. I could talk all afternoon because this is great stuff. Alissa Wetherbee, she is a world champion axe thrower and log roller and many other hats I'm sure that you wear as part of the Maine axe throwers. That's pretty cool stuff. Well, thank you so much. Anything else that I've left out that you want people to know at home?
No, check out our website, check out our websites. We have all kinds of stuff. We teach chainsaw lessons to women. We offer axe throwing lessons to veterans organizations. We make hot sauce and sell it. So
if all else fails, you can have some hot sauce. And she is one of the lead characters in the new documentary coming out, The Modern Lumberjill. Well, thank you so much for joining us here as Chopping It Up here at LCTV. I'm Larry Sidelinger, your host, and we want to thank you for watching. And I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have putting these two documentaries together, talking with these ladies on this documentary. It's been a lot of fun, and I don't know where we're going from here, but we'll find something to talk about, I'm sure. Thanks for watching, folks, and see you next time. And a special thanks to Alissa Wetherbee from the Maine Lumberjills.